Hey YouTubers, what's up? It's me, yours truly. I am back to post a video response to my last thread, number 5. I've already got a couple of responses that have been really good, and I'm sure I'll get a few more over the next few days. I apologize, I did type the questions down in the description, but for some reason it didn't post on there, so I'm not sure what happened there. I know that tends to make these threads a little easier, but I'll try to get it right next time. But anyway, well, before I get started, background, I'm listening to Iron Maiden. This is Dance of Death from, I think, 2003, I think? Yeah, 2003. So, anyway, that's what's playing in the background. So I'll kind of jump into this. A lot of stuff to talk about, I guess. I'm actually going to do this in a two-parter. I tried to do it once and ran out of time, so I'm just going to do a two-parter here. So I'll do the first two questions. What song or album do you associate with your first crush or first love? I picked out the album for my first crush and first love. First crush was Levert, The Big Throwdown. The song was Casanova, which was actually one of their bigger hits. But a quick story about that. I'm in 6th grade, maybe junior high. I go to Illinois to visit my grandmother and cousin for a week during the summer. The very last night I'm there, we all go to the grocery store. I'm with my cousin. She bumps into two of her friends. We start chatting. I kind of have a little thing for one of her friends. Her name was Lily. I'll never forget that. So I asked my cousin to call her that night and ask her if she had any interest, and she said she kind of did. But of course, I'm leaving 6 a.m. the next morning. So on that long bus ride home, I'm extremely excited because this is I've never dated anyone before. This is kind of the first potential to actually be in any type of relationship with someone. And I was listening to this album over and over. So with that long ride and thinking about that the whole time, and you know, that song Casanova just kind of got burnt into that excited feeling I had on that long bus ride home. As far as first love goes, have to go to this album, Van Halen OU812, and the song Feels So Good. Story behind that, around my freshman and sophomore year in high school, I still really hadn't dated up to that point in time. I guess I wasn't cool enough or whatever. And actually, I was in a position to be a lot cooler in my high school, I guess. It's just that I was real shy, so I didn't really take advantage of what was available. But anyway, that's a whole other story. Probably why I got so lost in music even back then, because I was so shy. But there was a friend who said someone's interested in you, gave me her phone number. That was on a Friday at school. That Saturday, I'm back at the school because we're getting ready to leave on a away basketball trip. So we're there packing up our gear, waiting for the bus and all that good stuff. I went in and called her on the payphone. There were no cell phones back then. We chatted for about 10 or 15 minutes, and she said she would love to go on a date with me. So it was my first yes of asking someone out and getting a yes for a date. And on the bus ride to the game, I was listening to this album, and I kept listening to the song Feels So Good over and over. And again, it's just between the way I was feeling that day and that song, it's got burned in my memory of every time I hear that, I think about that very first yes I ever got with asking somebody out. So those are my two songs I associate with the first love or first crush. Next one, 5 to 10 great R&B albums. I went completely overboard. I think one of the reasons why I asked about that R&B question is I realized that I'm such a big fan of R&B, and we hadn't been showing a lot of that, so I just couldn't control myself when I started yanking things out. So I'm just going to go through a few of these and kind of mention maybe some of the songs that you might want to take a look at if you're interested in checking out any of these bands. So let's start off with the Brothers Johnson. And this is Look Out for number 1. Best track off of this in my mind is Get the Funk Out My Face. Really good stuff. Best of Wilson Pickett. Pretty self-explanatory. I mean, it's Wilson Pickett. In the Midnight Hours, 634, 5789, Mustang Sally, on and on. Not to mention incredible voice. Just like this guy. I mean, this voice is just so unique. The Ruffin brothers, Jimmy and David Ruffin. Am I My Brother's Keeper? You know, David Ruffin was lead singer for the Temptations for quite some time. Best song off of this album is Turn Back the Hands of Time. And he kind of, I should say, my mother introduced me to his solo career because I wasn't very familiar with it once he left the Temptations, but really good stuff. The Shirelles, Will You Love Me Tomorrow? Not to say anything about that song, that's a classic. Not sure if you guys are familiar with this band, The Whisperers. They're pretty big from the late 70s throughout the 80s. Their biggest song off of this album is And the Beat Goes On. If you listen to that song, you'll probably recognize it pretty quick because it is note for note the sample that Will Smith took for the song Miami that he did, that kind of that dance hit that he had. He sampled it, like I said, note for note from them. Matter of fact, if you listen to And the Beat Goes On here, you don't realize that it's not Will Smith until their vocals kick in. But definitely a good band there. Sam Cooke, don't need to say anything about him. I mean, he more than speaks for himself. This is live at the Harlem Square Club. It's a really, really good album. And this album right here is the absolute jam. I tell you what, the Delphonics, Symphonic Soul, really good 60s R&B, 70s R&B. Songs like La La Means I Love You, Ready or Not, Here I Come, which was, I mean, a smooth groove right there. And Did Not Blow Your Mind This Time. I mean, you will not be disappointed with this album right here. I tell you what. Matter of fact, I'm going to leave that out. I got to listen to that. And let's put that in rotation stack right now. BT Express, Do It Till You're Satisfied. I'm sure you guys have probably heard that one. If not, you better check it out immediately. That song is perfected funk, if you will. Baby Huey, The Living Legend. Some more good stuff there. He did a cover of A Change Is Gonna Come, which is kind of nice. It's on red vinyl. This is one of my obscure loves of 80s R&B. Imtime, or Imtime, I guess is technically how you pronounce it. The name of the album is Juicy Fruit. The name of the song is also Juicy Fruit. Love it to death. Definitely one of my biggest jams from the 80s. I love the video too. I mean, it's very cheesy 80s type of stuff in the video, but there's an Asian woman dancing in there in this red dress, and I'll never forget between how cool I thought she looked and the guy that was dancing with her and the song and everything else. I had the biggest crush on her, the video, just kind of the whole nine. So I should have had that in my crush list over there. But a really, really good band. Full Force Smooth. Their biggest hit, at least what I liked, was Ain't My Type of Hype off of this album. But they did a lot more on the producing side, and they were huge back in the 80s. I mean, they were on everybody's stuff as producers. They did a number of collaborations with Lisa and the Cult Jam in terms of their actual performances. Also acting, Crush Groove. These two were the big two muscle guys that were beating up everybody. That was beating up Run from Run DMC. They were in House Party, all those movies and everything too. So they definitely made their mark in the 80s. Loose Ends, Zagora, another very good 80s band. Favorite song off of this album is Slow Down. Off of their previous album, which I also have, my favorite song on there is You Got Me Hanging on a String. Morris Day, Color of Success, his first solo album after leaving The Time. Color of Success and The Oak Tree, two best songs off of that album. And if you don't check out any other band that I mentioned today, Cameo is one that you need to check out. Definitely one of my top 3 favorite 80s bands of all time. They were kind of the rebels of 80s R&B. They did what they want, how they wanted, no matter how silly, didn't have to make sense. They just went for it. And this is their album Alligator Woman. And actually, if you look up this video, Alligator Woman by Cameo, you'll get a good feel for kind of how wacky they were. But I love them to death. I have all of their albums. You know, other songs like She's Strange and Attack Me With Your Love and on and on. But the one mainstream hit they had, which most people know them by, is Word Up. They're the ones that did that song. Bobby Brown, Don't Be Cruel. Kind of after he left New Edition. This was his second solo album, I believe. And as far as hits go, Don't Be Cruel, My Prerogative, Roni, Rock With You, Every Little Step. Again, sounds cheesy, but that was a big freaking album back in the day. I mean, that was huge. Philip Bailey, Continuation. You probably remember him. He was one of the main guys in Earth, Wind & Fire. This is one of his first solo albums, and the song I Know is probably his best song from his solo career. Very cool video, too. Climax. This was kind of the female version of Cameo. 6 chicks who just did what they wanted, how they wanted, didn't care how it came across to whomever. So songs like The Men All Pause and Meeting in the Ladies' Room, just kind of some strange stuff. Their most mainstream hit was I Miss You. So, in case you haven't heard of them. Bobby Womack, you know, Mr. R&B himself. So Many Rivers is the name of this album. Favorite song off of this one, I Wish You Didn't Trust Me So Much. And one of my other favorite songs by him is Woman's Gotta Have It, off of one of his earlier albums. Temptations Reunion album from 1982, collaboration where all existing members got back together, or members that were still alive got back together and did this reunion album. And Rick James, who's Melvin's cousin or nephew, collaborated with him on this one, and they did the song Standing on the Top, which is one of my favorite Temptations songs of all time, which is saying a lot because we're talking about the Temptations here. But if you never heard that one, make sure you check it out. The second band, along with Cameo, that I say everyone should know about to some degree, the SOS Band. They are the epitome of smooth groove R&B. This band was fantastic. Everything they did. So stuff like Just Be Good to Me, Tell Me If You Still Care, The Finest, on and on and on. I love this band to death. Definitely one of my top 3 favorite R&B bands from the 80s. Teddy Pendergrass, I'm sure most of you remember him. This is his album Love Language. And for those of you maybe that don't know him or haven't heard of him, Teddy was like kind of like a Marvin Gaye type performer, but with a lot more oomph. You know, he was the kind of guy that was on stage singing and sweating like crazy, shirt open down to here with a big gold chain, and women throwing their panties on the stage. He was one of those type of performers. And then he got into an accident, and he was in a wheelchair. He got crippled. So this was the first album he put out after that happened. And I should have put this in my most depressing albums, because my favorite song on this is In My Time. And really it's a song where he's kind of singing about and reflecting on his life. And even in the video, he's sitting in the wheelchair singing, and they'll show flashback clips of him performing on stage and just being, the wild, sweaty, nasty Teddy that he was. And it's really kind of sad in that regard. And I think he just passed away not too long ago. But moving along here, this is Shalamar, album Big Fun. Best song on this album is probably second time around. They had a lot of good hits throughout the 80s though. And if you look closely there, Jody Watley, this is the group she was in before she went solo, and then also Hewitt. That's where he was before he went solo. So that's where they came from. Jeffrey Osborne, this is his song or album Stay With Me Tonight. The best track on it is the title track, Stay With Me Tonight. He was with LTD before he went solo. Another very good song by him to check out is You Could Be Mine. Alexander O'Neal, just another one of my 80s favorites. I'm not sure if anybody really recognizes or knows about him, but If You Were Here Tonight is my favorite song by him. He did a lot of collaborations with Cherrelle, another famous R&B singer from back in the 80s. Then the man himself, Mr. Freak, Rick James. I've always loved him so much because I think he's one of the few artists that really figured out how to take all of the rock and roll attitude and put it in the funk and R&B, and he did it better than anybody. This is his album Throwing Down. Most people know him by the song Super Freak, but his best song of all time to me was 69 Times, which is on this album. I love that to death, because Rick was the super freak. Of course, the song 69 Times, of course, that's a Rick James song. Kind of getting into the New Jack Swing thing from the late 80s and early 90s. This is Guy. My favorite song by them is I Like. Another really good album. A lot of good stuff on that album, but that's my favorite song. Anthony Hamilton, one of the few current R&B artists who knows that it's wise, smart, and good to keep R&B old school, and that's exactly what he's done with all of his stuff. This is his 12-inch single, Coming From Where I'm From, my favorite song by him. So make sure you check that out. Mary J. Blige, one of the few modern female artists that I like as far as R&B. I don't really like a lot of the current R&B stuff. It's phony, watered down, stupid stuff put together just to sell. Mary J. Blige is one of the few that really keeps it very real. There's nothing phony about her. She's not playing a Mary J. Blige character, and I think all of that realness, if you will, comes out in her music, her performances, just kind of everything about her. Usher, you're a modern day Michael Jackson wannabe. And I say that not in an insulting way. I mean, I think we need more artists like that these days that actually try to entertain. You know, they actually try to make good songs and entertain you. And Usher has really tried to follow in Michael Jackson's footsteps. So that's not an insult at all. I mean, more power to him. If you're going to perform the way he does, dancing and singing, why wouldn't you want to try to emulate Michael Jackson as much as possible? Because he was the best ever. R. Kelly 12 Play. This is a really hard album to actually get a hold of. I was very happy to find it. This is an import from England. But Your Body's Calling is my favorite song off of that one. And last but not least, right side up, Alicia Keys. This has her big hit No One. Really nice 2 LP set, also on red vinyl there, which is cool. Alright, so I did a lot more. I picked out a lot more than I should have, but I'm going to go ahead and make this a 2-parter, so go ahead and flip over to part 2, and I'll answer the remaining 4 questions.